This video, we're going to look at the transactions where I expect you'll be spending most of your time. So when we go to the transactions layout, at least for this video, we're looking at a fake record that I've been using for development purposes. Your real records don't yet have all the data that's in them for a thorough demonstration, so you'll use your imagination a little bit and bear with me. In this transaction layout, you still have the ability to change from different versions. There happens to only be one version of this transaction. You've got three tabs: the transportation itinerary, which shows you everything about the job and the pets that are being transported, dates and other attributes of the job. And in the middle, we've got a tab that deals with everything that has to do with the money. So you've got your line items and your payments, invoice, and so on. And in the right side, you've got the transaction documents, and I'll be going into each one of them for you. The transaction itinerary, transportation itinerary, in the upper left, you will be able to choose the country of origin, and you can also choose, once you've got that country chosen, airports that exist in that country. So if I was to choose Uruguay, for instance, as the country, then the airport list would refresh, or should refresh, to only show the airports that exist in Uruguay. So we'll stay with the United States. Same thing for the destination. You choose your country, you choose your airport. And once you've done that, you can build an itinerary. But the itinerary requires several necessary elements. There has to be a travel date. So let's just put in July 13th as the travel date. And it will build the itinerary for you, starting with the first flight. So in this case, we know that the airline is Emirates Sky Cargo, and we know the travel date is July 13th, and we know the origin and destination country. So the first line of the itinerary is automatically filled in. There's a little information button here that explains how you can add connecting flights. And if you need to build an itinerary from scratch, you would be able to use this button. It popped up a moment ago, and this is a warning telling me that an itinerary already exists. If I delete the item from the itinerary list, I now have a plain itinerary, and I can start from scratch. And it will put in the first flight. So if I put in flight number 123, and it's going to depart at 10 o'clock a.m., and it's going to arrive in Frankfurt at 5:30 p.m. Of course, those things aren't real. You can now add a connecting flight if you need to. So when you click the build an itinerary, it will allow you to put in whatever might be the connecting flight. You can change the agent if you need to, change it to someone else. Right now, this one is on the invoice status. The services let you choose from either transportation, health certificate, or a combination of both. If there's a health certificate date that has to be scheduled, you can choose it from this drop-down calendar, and then that will appear in your calendar. If you were going to make an invoice for this or view the PDF invoice, this button will let you do that. The import pets function works the same as it did in AVI Pro. These two buttons are provided for the future so that you'd be able to either check the flight status or check the shipment tracking. And right now, those will open up web pages to, in this case, Emirates, because that's the chosen airline. And if we have a tracking page for Emirates, then it will let you do the tracking on their website, and that would apply to any airline. Airway bill numbers are important to you, so this is where you would put in the airway bill number. You have notes that exist for the transaction, and you can read them just by clicking on them. If you want to add a new note, you'll click this plus button, and you can add some kind of a new note, and then it will appear next in the list, actually in descending order by date. So since that was a bogus one, I'll click the delete button to get rid of it. When you're looking at your list of pets, you can click the little arrow to go to the individual pet to see their detailed information. If you need to refresh it because you've changed something, you can do that. And if you want to choose a kennel, you've got a drop-down list of kennels. You can also do a rate calculation, but that's not fully developed yet. So that's going to be done between Ruth and myself once we work on the rates. If you want to add another pet, you'll just add the name of the pet here, and it gets added to the list, and then you can put in whatever information you need about that. So the species might be canine, and the breed might be an Airedale, and you can pick the gender, and you can put in a weight, and so forth. So all of that works similar to what you had before, hopefully a little bit better. If we go to the middle tab, where you have your line items, there is a list of the same notes you were looking at before, except here you can see more of them because there's more room. The main thing that we'll be doing in a separate video has to do with the bundles. Ruth has invented a method of creating bundles, and this little blue button here is what will deal with the bundles. So in this case, it's asking me if I want to delete the existing line items and put in a new predefined bundle list. So I'll just go ahead and do that. It takes a second, they'll all be gone, and then I'll be able to, you can see a new set of bundles has fallen into place here. You can write any descriptions you want for each of them, indicate your quantity, indicate your price. Again, pricing and freight rates is still to be discussed with Ruth. You'll see your totals here. In this case, the payment and the total match up. And then we have a very detailed view of the documents. So any document you want to look at, you'll click this blue arrow and it will show you either the estimate, maybe a second estimate, or an invoice. If you wanted to upload a new document, you can drag and drop it into this field. You can write a description. It should automatically determine the extension, the format. Might not know the number of pages, but you can certainly insert that yourself from this drop-down list. And once it's updated, it will appear, once it's uploaded, it'll appear in this list on the left-hand side. So that's your quick overview of the transaction layout.